Welcome everyone, my name is Hannah Magdalek and I am a performance coach and an emotional intelligence trainer. I help people with overcoming emotional barriers, self-sabotage, especially procrastination, relationships, and overall enhancing their emotional intelligence. Today I would like to share with you the most frequently asked questions. One of them is actually what the average age is of someone who comes for coaching. So from my experience, most of my clients, probably 90% of them, if not more, they're actually in their 50s. So these are people who have probably raised their children by now. Most of them do have children actually. And now they are discovering perhaps that they've not addressed certain needs over the period of time when they were busy raising the children and with the family, and they come to the realization that perhaps if they don't focus on their own needs and those beyond raising a family, for example, and the children's needs, well, if not now, then when? Very often people in the 50s actually decide to, for example, set up a business, or they want some drastic changes. Some don't, but for example, they maybe have been married a couple of times and they have noticed that certain things actually are related to their own challenges, and perhaps they would like to build new relationships going forward, having resolved them. And very often people come to use me as a sounding board. So for example, they may be decision makers in their professional life and they don't really have anyone to bounce their ideas off, and that's the actually effectiveness of coaching, because you don't want to know certain things because you don't want to be thinking like them, and you don't necessarily want to reinforce their ways of thinking if they've come to change, if they've come to explore, if they've come to discover new ways of thinking and maybe new behaviors as well. So being neutral gives you that power to actually let them get out of the bubble and the comfort zone as well. So I think people in the 50s, they're learning to do it very often. It may be the first time that they do. Most clients who come to me, they've never experienced coaching. Having said that, they are normally interested in personal development, and their education in that area has been actually going on for a long while. It's just that people very often discover that they've read so many books and they love those books, you know, they've learned so much, but yet they've not managed over all those years and having read all those books to actually implement a lot of the practices or develop certain habits that they know would be extremely beneficial in the work and in the personal life. And a lot of executives really value having this one-to-one session where they can literally share anything they want and consider the same thing from various angles, because they have an opportunity to actually become an observer of their own thinking process and make better decisions as a result. So I think it is later in life when we start looking more inwards, and also emotional intelligence increases with age by default. So of course, the more emotional intelligent we are, the more we want it to grow within us, the more we want to develop it, because we know that it's such an effective tool. What are the most common challenges that clients come with for coaching? From my experience, clients come very often with different challenges, but they're related to, for example, that lack of balance in life that normally shows in the most clear way in their professional life, and their exhaustion that then reflects in the personal life. So some come because they want more balance, but then others come because they want to stop procrastinating. So it's interesting because it would seem that it's two different ends of the same spectrum. But actually, when you learn to overcome procrastination, you learn to have more balance in your life, because you learn to prioritize, to understand what is important to you and focus on the right things. And you also build your own motivation focusing on the right things, and you drive your life in a certain direction. So I'd say, although theoretically they look very different, wanting to achieve work-life balance or balance and overcome procrastination, they actually, these two goals work really nicely together. They, in a way, supplement one another. So what's the average length of coaching collaboration with a client? Well, the average length varies. I'd say that the shortest time clients decide to work together with me as a coach is 3 months, but that's very rare. Normally it's over 6 months, 12 months, up to 18 months. It is a temporary collaboration. I would recommend doing it, especially if it's a program, if it's the emotional intelligence program. It comes as a 12-month program. So that's on purpose, because a lot of things are related to one another, and to actually take away more than just theory and more sort of nice words, you know, and nice ways of thinking, we actually want to be implementing them in the context of the client's goals. So 12 months is a realistic period of time to make significant progress. But of course, it happens that people take 3 sessions and they address different challenges in every single session, and they're perfectly fine with that, because they just need this sort of final, the final straw that will actually push them to make a change, to bring a certain result. Very often they're very mature themselves and they already know a lot about coaching and personal development, but they just need that extra accountability and maybe a little bit of direction to sort of make out the most of what they've been already preparing to do. And what's the success rate? The success rate is very much proportional to the input from the client. So if the client comes with the right mindset that, for example, they've heard that coaching has helped someone else, or they just know that it will help them, they've been maybe procrastinating about coming forward, but they know the benefits, they don't need to sort of be convinced, those take away the most normally. So like I say, the more the client puts in, so they have regular sessions, they don't postpone them on a regular basis, they actually do the work, take the action that they committed to during the session, it actually creates a very high success rate, practically 100%. So there is never any guarantee, because it is the client who takes action, not the coach. What is the biggest obstacle, the biggest barrier to achievement? In my opinion, there are 2 things actually. One, it's the lack of self-awareness. Self-awareness is the foundation. You can't really build anything without it. You may be self-aware and not be really changing things or taking action, which is not going to create much progress. But I guess it's easy to understand certain things ourselves and others. The other thing is, in my opinion, knowing how the brain works, because there are so many misconceptions, and we used to talk about learning styles, different learning styles, which is actually a myth. We no longer really look at people's learning styles. And also, if you feel that you've got a certain learning style, you need to accommodate your own learning style while you learn. So it's important to take ownership of your own actions and your own results. And this is exactly what can be an obstacle as well. If someone believes that they will take away something without doing any work or any significant work. So yes, self-awareness and understanding how the brain works and how it doesn't work as well. I also get asked a lot what the difference is between the one-to-one coaching and the emotional intelligence program, which I offer as well. So the difference is that the one-to-one coaching, as I call it, that's the more purist coaching, which is built totally on the client's challenges and goals, whatever it is that they want to overcome or achieve. That is what we focus on. And as a qualified coach, I use mainly the GROW model, and I don't give advice. I may, if I get permission, but that wouldn't be the main part of it, because it's not mentoring, it's coaching. So as a performance coach, I don't want to disempower someone by taking away the decisions or what's best for them, those decisions away from them. Because if you give someone advice, and in some contexts, of course, it's valid, it's important, it's helpful, but in coaching, it's slightly different. You as a person only know what you know, and that's only your experience. So assuming that that experience from one person, or perhaps other people that you know about, will apply to this person and to their challenges, you may be actually oversimplifying someone's complexity and the complexity of their challenges and their own world. So that's the one-to-one coaching, the GROW model, no advice giving, and using coaching tools, techniques to help the client change their ways of thinking, which then means that they can empower themselves to find solutions and to achieve their goals. The other way, the emotional intelligence program is built upon the emotional intelligence model, which includes building self-awareness and social awareness, regulating our own emotions, managing other people's emotions, which effectively means influencing, learning to be more flexible and perhaps optimistic as well. And we just break it down in the program into smaller elements than these 6, and each module, there are 13 modules altogether, each covers a different element of emotional intelligence, and the client has a chance to work through their challenges in the context of emotional intelligence and their own goals. Who do you like working with the most? Okay, so personally, my favorite clients are those who really understand the power of personal development and continuous improvement, Kaizen, of course. Those clients are just pure joy working with. Of course, that's not the only type of client that comes to me, and if there is someone who's not had much exposure but actually loves seeing those results, that is an extremely rewarding thing for them, and also, of course, from my perspective. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you found something for yourself. If you have, please subscribe to my channel. There are lots of videos available there on different challenges that self-sabotage covers, procrastination, emotional intelligence barriers, and many others. Thank you for watching.